Hello everyone, today is January 15th, 2022. It is currently 11 a.m. My name is Daphne and I will be interviewing Ronald and Paul Lafleur for the Coquitlam Heritage Oral History Project. Hello Ron, hello Paul.
Hello.
Hello. So, to start the interview, would you please introduce yourselves, tell us your name, your age or date of birth, and the place you were born?
My name is Ronald Lafleur. I'm born on March 1943.
And the place of birth?
New Westminster, BC.
Okay. And how did your family come to live in Coquitlam?
My grandfather and grandmother moved in from Quebec, and they built a house, and then my mom and dad decided to live there with them in the same house, and that's where I was born.
Okay. And that house is in Coquitlam?
Yeah, Millardville, they call it.
Oh, yes. So what languages did you grow up speaking?
French and English. We did mostly in school it was French, and at home it was French and English.
Okay. And where did you learn these languages?
At Our Lady of Lourdes School. It was just a block down the road from where you lived, and that's where I went from grade 1 to grade 7.
Okay. And both of your parents are bilingual and speak both English and French?
Yes, they were.
Okay. So could you explain to us what is your connection to the Lafleur house?
My mom and dad moved there with my grandfather and and I was born there. So we stayed there. I stayed there till I was 18 years old in that same house.
And could you tell us your parents' names?
My dad was Jean-Paul Lafleur.
And your mother?
Marie Ramsey was her maiden name.
Okay, thank you. So what was the house like? Like how many rooms, bathrooms? Did it have electricity, indoor plumbing, etc.?
Okay, yes, we have, there was bathrooms, one bathroom, and a little upstairs, and there must have been six rooms downstairs.
And did you have electricity?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And how many people were living in the house when you were growing up?
Well, there was 7, 8, 9, I guess. Yeah, my grandmother, my grandpa, and grandma had their separate living quarters, but it was the same house.
Mm-hmm. And what's their names? Your grandmother and grandfather?
The name was Charles Lafleur.
And your grandmother?
Lenora.
Okay.
It was her maiden name. P-A-R-E.
Okay, yeah. And I just want to let the listeners, the audience, to know that the Perry family was one of the earliest prominent families in Millardville. Okay.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So were there any special items in the house that you remember? It could be like a piece of furniture or like the first television set in your family, etc.
It would be the television set, yeah. I think we got it just when I was 10 or 11, I think, and it was a big deal there, yeah.
So this was in the early 50s?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember your neighbors? Was there anyone particularly memorable?
Yes, I did. My auntie and uncle lived right next door to us, and yeah, I remember them very well. They were very good people, so we were together all the time.
Okay. And what were their names?
Their name was Fabiola Van Nerum. There we go. V-A-N and N-E-R-U-M.
Okay, got it. And
Hubert. There you go. Hubert Van Nerum.
sorry, what was the uncle's name?
Hubert.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And again, just want to give some more information. The Venerum family is immigrated to Canada from Belgium.
That's right.
Okay.
Belgium, yeah.
So you're both French-speaking families.
Yes, they both spoke French. A different accent.
Yeah, I would assume. So what was your earliest childhood memory?
Memory? Okay. I was about 5 or 6, and we had a little garden, and then the next door neighbor had a little garden. Our garden never grew, and my mom taught me how to sneak in and go across the fence to get the good cucumbers on their side. So we brought it over, and that's the first thing I can remember. I was about 5 or 6, I guess, and stealing cucumbers, I guess. I never heard that story. That was a good one. Yeah, it's true. I just reached over the fence and we got the good cucumbers. Because everybody at our place liked cucumbers, and we can't grow cucumbers on this side, so they didn't mind. I think they knew what was going on in the neighbors, so it was different. I remember that part.
Good neighbors.
Yeah, right.
Okay. While you were growing up, who do you think impacted you the most? It could be a family member, a teacher, or like a public figure or celebrity?
It was a priest, Father Bonaventure.
Okay. Could you spell his name for us, please?
B-O-N-A.
B-O-N-A.
V-E-N.
V-E-N.
T-U-R-E.
T-U-R-E. And how do you pronounce this name?
Bonaventure.
Bonaventure, thank you. And how did you impacted you or helped you growing up?
Yeah, well, we lived, he was a priest in Our Lady of Lourdes, and we were 4 doors away. And I used to be altar boy, and he used to come and get me in the morning to go to his mass and make sure I got there at 6:30. And ever since then, he grew up, and he was my basketball coach, and for quite a few years. And he's very, very nice to me. He's a super fella, very nice.
Okay. I think your son sent us a photo of you in a basketball competition. Was he in that photo as well?
I don't have the photo. Apologies.
No, I did not send a basketball photo. I sent a baseball,
okay.
minor league baseball photo.
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't tell the difference. I'm sorry. But so Ron, you were an altar boy. So could you tell us a bit about your duties and experience as an altar boy at the church?
Yeah, I was. It's pretty regular altar boy thing. You help the priest get dressed in the back, in the rectory it's called, and then you come and during the mass you have to help him serve communion and do that, and weddings and funerals. It's all the same stuff. Just help the priest.
Okay, and we know that it's supposed to be this serious role to be an altar boy and participate in all these ceremonies. But since your children, were there any mishaps, any funny stories that happened during this experience that you could remember?
About altar boys?
Yeah.
There's no funny story. Oh yeah, one time I got out and everybody was getting ready for the mass, and I tripped over my robe and I didn't fall down, but in front of everybody anyway. I guess they thought it was funny, but I didn't. So I was embarrassed. That was right in front of everybody when we were ready to have the mass there. It could be funny.
Did people laugh?
I don't know. I didn't.
Oh.
I'm sure they did. But I was embarrassed anyway.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. Another question about your childhood. What kind of games or sports did you play growing up?
about playing baseball, and every chance I have, we went to practice, me and two other fellas, and we played and then we played in games, and we kept going, and it got really serious. I played baseball most of my childhood, actually.
Thank you. And was there any other games you would play?
Not really. Not when I was growing up. I was the oldest of six kids, and there was all girls behind me. And I kind of they got me to watch the girls, make sure they don't do anything wrong and stuff like that. And that's probably most of my goal, I guess, to kind of just watch the girls and then play baseball, and it was kind of a dull childhood. It worked out great. I loved it. It was great.
So, did you have any family chores at the time?
Any family what? Sorry.
Like family chores, like domestic duties?
Oh, yeah. I was in charge of drying the dishes. There's lots of...
Okay, because there were so many people living in the household.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of the girls did, a different girl all the time did the washing and I did the drying, because I like to do the drying and then put them away.
Okay. Did you have a favorite or least favorite chore?
What? I'm sorry?
Did you have a favorite or least favorite chore that you have to do at home?
No.
Okay. So you talked about looking after your siblings. How many siblings do you have?
We had 5 sisters and me and myself. I was the oldest one. Just about one. No boys, just me.
Okay. So when you were a little kid, did you receive an allowance?
Yes, I did. I think it was...
Yeah, how much?
25 cents a week, I think.
Did you save your money or spend it, and how did you spend your allowance?
Yeah, I saved it, and then we went, there was a theater in Millardville, and we went every week there. We took the bus, and that's not much money for 25 cents. Maybe it was $1 a week, I'm sorry. But anyway, we spent it by our big outing for the week was going to the movie and back again.
Did you have a favorite movie at the time?
The Lone Ranger. How does that sound? I didn't know that either.
Is it called The Little Reindeer?
The Lone Ranger.
Oh, The Lone Ranger, sorry. The Lone Ranger. And was it like live action movie or was it a cartoon?
Yeah. No, it was action with horses, Indians and stuff like that.
Oh, so
it continued every week. So he went, and then next week it continued the series. I guess they go.
So was it also your family's favorite movie?
No, my mom and dad didn't go. Just the kids.
So did your family have a favorite movie?
They didn't watch television very much. They were reading a lot, and my dad was working a lot. So, he worked at the brewery for 30 years, and my mom stayed home and watches all the girls. And then she adopted 23 different people. Not adopted, but fostered 23 different kids when she was there. Plus all the ones she has at home. It's through the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. So what was your father's occupation?
He worked at a Lucky Lager brewery.
Okay, brewery. And was that also in Millardville?
It was in Westminster. It's about 10 miles out of Millardville.
In Westminster. So let's move on to your school experience. What was school like for you as a child, and what were your best and worst subjects?
Okay, I went to school from grade 1 to grade 7, right down the road there, right by the Catholic Church, and it was very good. I studied a lot, and went on. It turned out good. I studied a lot and went to one to seven, and then 8 was this about 2 blocks up the road. It was a junior high, so we went grade 8 and 9 and 10 and junior high, and when I was in grade 10, the priests wanted to send me and another fella to Edmonton, to a college in Edmonton for grade 10 and 11, and that's what we did. We left home for 2 years and studied there, and I did well there. They actually wanted to make a priest out of me, is what they're trying to do. And then I got to grade 11 and finished grade 11 in Edmonton, come home, and I figured I don't think I could do this, so I stayed to grade 12 and I graduated in Vancouver. So. And that's about it.
Okay, so what was the name of the junior high you attended?
Our Lady of Lourdes.
Okay.
Junior high.
Okay. And the high school's name?
My high school was in Edmonton. It was St. Anthony's College.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
St. Anthony, A.M.
Oh.
English.
Okay, St. Anthony's College. Okay. So, do you remember any of your teachers who impacted you the most, and did you have a favorite?
Yeah, the one I hated and liked most of all is the same teacher, Mrs. Goyette. Goyette. Y-T-T-E? Yeah, you either learned or you're out of it because she was nasty. But I learned that out. I learned it was good.
You said she was a math teacher?
No, she was taught the whole class.
Okay. Yeah. And did you have a favorite?
She is my favorite.
Okay.
She is my worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that happens. So do you remember any of your classmates?
Yeah, I remember one, Jerry Paychoud, Painchoud.
Okay.
He lives across the road. Yeah, him and I got hung on together. And his dad run a little corner store right across the road from us. And I remember one time it was April Fool's Day, and I phoned him up and told him that there's no school today, so you don't have to go to school. And there was school. I went to school. He didn't. And then the next day, we found out that he got heck when he got to school. And then when my mom found out, she really mad at me, and then she made me go apologize to everybody. And I had to do all that, and I was embarrassed, but it was funny.
Did him get in trouble as well for not going to school?
I got in trouble for telling him, and he got in trouble too for not going to school. So it worked out okay.
Yeah. But did you think it was worth it? Even though you got in trouble, you were able to prank him?
Oh yes, I do. I thought it was funny. And he wasn't even mad at me.
Okay.
But his parents were, and my parents.
Okay, so next question. What school activities and sports did you participate in? Any clubs or student societies?
When I got to grade 8, I was playing basketball for the school. And on the side, I was playing baseball. That was nothing to do with the school, though. So we had basketball. I played basketball primarily until I was 8 and 9, grade 8 and 9. So we played then. And there's CYO, it's Catholic Youth Association, and that was it's part of the school, but anyway, it's different stuff, and I played basketball for them too, so it was pretty good, primarily basketball, I guess.
Okay.
In the junior high.
Mm-hmm. And did your school have a prom or any kind of school dance? And could you tell us about your prom experience?
Okay, this was in grade 12. I went to Vancouver. It's called Notre Dame High School.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated there. And we had the prom, but I lived in Millardville, which is like 15 miles away, and I couldn't get a ride to go to the prom. So I didn't go to the prom. But anyway, I graduated after that.
Okay.
But apparently the prom was good. I wasn't there, so kind of sad.
Did you wish that you could go?
Not really, because there was nuns in Notre Dame High School that kind of resented the people from Millardville. There was 13 of us, and because we invaded the place, I guess they called it, and they didn't treat us very well. Everybody.
Oh, that's a shame. Did you have any funny or awkward memories from school that you would like to share?
Not really. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I mean, you already talked about like pranking your friends and your like other school experience, so I guess that's suffice. Do you remember any popular trends from youth, from your youth, like your what's the popular hairstyles or like style of clothing that all the young kids were wearing at the time?
Yeah, we used to. I hung around with two other fellas. We used to run around town, and I wore I don't know what you call it. It's a long coat, overcoat. It's a long coat, right down to the ground.
Okay.
It was the weirdest color, and that was my favorite.
What was the color?
It was crisscross. It was kind of white and black, and it was the only one around, and it looked pretty stupid actually, but that was my favorite, that one. Walk around town, and everybody laughed at me, and I thought it was funny anyway. And I used real cream hairstyle. That's what was my favorite there for my hair.
Did you listen to any music when you were a teenager, and what were your favorite songs?
Yeah, a lot of Elvis Presley when he was around. Yeah, I listened to him, all his songs, and he's my favorite.
Do you remember like any song titles?
I'll have a Blue Christmas without you. I think that's my favorite.
Okay, thank you. So now let's talk about your first job. What was your first job, and just elaborate on it.
Okay, well, I graduated when I was 16 years old, and I took a accounting course for 6 months at a college in Vancouver, and then halfway through the course, somebody says, "Do you want a job?" I was just turned 17, and I said, "Yeah." So they took me out of class, and I started there when I was 17. I started as a mail boy, delivering mail to everybody in an office. And that's my first job, and then I got promoted there a few months later, and then I got promoted again. So I was responsible for some tasks, ordering in carloads of Uncle Ben's rice, if you want to get serious about. And I got there, and then the office manager kind of took a shining to me, and he says he's leaving there, and he says, "Why don't you come with me to my other job? You make more money," and stuff like that. And I still was 17, and I went with him. He was the office manager of this cement foundry, and I didn't realize what it meant. Lots of work, dirty work and everything, so I made it through that. And then we moved to Surrey, and it was the same outfit, and he came there, and he said, "Well, come on with me." So I followed him again, and it worked out well. I ended up to be shipper and receiver and responsible for 8 or 9 people, and it worked out good. And then my first wife passed away. That's Paul's mother, and the fellow, I said, "I got to take 3 months
did you ever, like when you were growing up in Millardville, did you take any jobs here in Millardville?
No, I didn't.
So we've talked about how you went to Catholic schools. So were you raised Catholic?
Yes, I was.
And many other community members in Millardville, you attended Our Lady of Lord Church?
Yeah.
Okay. In addition to attending religious services, what other activities or events were held at the church?
There was bingo. Everybody had bingo there. And my mom and my grandma used to go to bingo I think it was Friday night. They went to bingo there. And the ladies had their own get-togethers there.
At the church?
Yeah, in the basement of the church.
Yeah. Nice. So what world events had the most impact on you while you were growing up? Did any of them personally affect your family?
Oh, that's a tough one. Can you repeat the question? Maybe I'll figure it out here.
So what world events had the most impact on you while you were growing up? And did any of them personally affect your family? For example, it could be like a war, or like right now we are in a global pandemic, but when you were growing up, maybe there's something similar?
No, there was a lot of polio around when I was a kid. And one of my friends had it, and nobody wanted to tell anybody, so found out later that he had it. And he was okay though, so it's a polio thing.
Okay, so could you describe a typical family dinner at the old Lafleur house?
Yeah. We ate a lot of pork and beans and macaroni and lots of that. My mom used to make different dishes out of it. And everybody was sitting around the table, and it turned out well. I had to say grace because I was the oldest. Excuse me, and it worked out well. And once a week we had to speak exclusively French for a separate dinner table. And if you have accidentally spoke English, you had to put some money into the pot. And then we split the pot at the end anyway. But it was good and said grace, and it worked out well. We had to be polite at the table and all, joking around. So it was well. I enjoy it.
Do you remember who did the cooking?
My mother. Okay. Yeah. My father didn't know how to cook at all, and I didn't cook. So I guess the girls helped out a little bit when they got older. So. Because I stayed there till I was 18 years old. So.
And what were your favorite foods?
Food? Watermelon.
Anything else?
Yeah, French fried potatoes.
Oh, nice. And how were holidays, including like birthdays, celebrated in your family? And did your family have any special traditions at holidays?
Well, everybody's birthday we had just plain. It wasn't no extravagant thing. It just turned out well. He had a cake, and sometimes my mom used to bake a cake and put money inside the cake, and then cut it out. And whoever got the cake with the money in it got it. So it was she did big nickels, dipped in 5-cent pieces, and that was pretty well it for everybody in the family got the same.
And did you have any special Christmas traditions?
No, it's straight. No, it's just regular and very. It turned out the same. I'm sorry that I can't explain too much of that. But it's Christmas tree, and then Christmas Eve, everybody used to sneak down and see their presents, and we were supposed to open up Christmas Day.
guys go to midnight mass regularly? Like, I mean.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Midnight mass. That was on Christmas Eve. That's right. Christmas Eve, we all went to midnight mass. It was just like half a block down, or 4 houses down the road, and the big church. This church is still there, actually.
And so at the midnight mass, since I assume like family would bring like all their children to it, did like your parents or like any other neighbors have trouble keeping their like little children awake or like in good behavior?
That's pretty well what it was, yeah. But they all went. All my family, all my neighbors, everybody all went there. And we come back home and we had meat pie. Mm-hmm. That's what we had after their midnight mass, and then we went to bed and then snuck back and opened our presents. What it was, so that was pretty late for us.
In holidays, since your grandparents came from Quebec, did your family ever visited Quebec during holidays, or like did any of your relatives in Quebec came to Millardville?
Not that I know of. I think that was it. No, I'm sure that my grandparents didn't go back to Quebec, and nobody from Quebec came to see us. And that was it. They didn't interact with each other from Quebec to Millardville there.
Okay. So let's talk a bit more about your family history. First of all, what do you know about your family surname, Lafleur?
About my family what? Sorry?
Your family name, Lafleur?
I don't know.
Well, we know it's French.
Oh, yes, and my mother was born in Manitoba.
Mm-hmm. So,
she was part native.
Okay. And I don't speak French, but I assume Lafleur means the flower.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know any stories about like the early life of your grandparents and the more distant ancestors?
Maybe my mother, most of all. She was born in an Indian reservation in Manitoba, in a teepee, and she stayed there and farmed out. She was farming till she was, I don't know how old she was when she moved out here. And then when she was out there, she met my dad. And my dad, she met my dad there. And
okay.
Yeah, I know. She told me a few stories about living in all native people, and she came back, and she's part native, and I'm part native too. I'm a Métis.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Paul got all the research and he did everything. Worked out well.
Yeah, though unfortunately, I never researched the Lafleur name heritage. I guess what part of Quebec specifically or anything like that.
Yeah.
I also don't know the lineage of the name, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I don't either too much.
But do you remember any, or do you know any like famous or infamous relatives in your family? And it doesn't have to be like famous to other people, but like within your family, is there like a particularly interesting relative that everyone knows about?
The only thing I can think of was my Auntie Barb. She married one of my uncles, and she was famous for baking, and she used to sell all her baking stuff, and the whole family knew her, and they used to kind of, live up to her stuff, and they kind of bought the stuff, and my Auntie Barbara.
And have any like family recipes been passed down to you from other family members? And would you like to share it?
Not for me. Maybe my sisters would be all that. I don't have no. I don't think so.
That's okay.
I could have done to my sisters or something, because.
Are you still in touch with your sister?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe like you can get in touch with her later and ask her about if there's any family recipes that she's willing to share.
Oh, okay. My Auntie Claire. Oh no, she's my sister, right? Yeah. Claire Warner. Werner.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are there any special family heirlooms that has been passed down to you in your family?
I'm pretty sure my Claire would be able to tell you about some dishes, I think, all kinds of dishes that they passed off. And it goes from one sister or one, it goes from my grandma to my mom to my sisters. I never got any of that stuff, but I'm sure Claire is the one that speaks to about that.
Okay. Did you have a family Bible?
Yes, we did. My mother all the time. Till she died, I mean.
Do you still have it?
No, she gave it to one of the girls.
Okay. Yeah. We would love to have a photo of the Bible just to see what it looks like, if it is something that you can share with us.
Yeah, well, if you wanted to speak to Claire, I think she'd know what's going on with that.
Okay. So we are near the end of our interview. I just have two more wrap questions. So, in your opinion, how is the world today different from what it was like when you were a kid?
It's more high tech, and we didn't even know what a computer was and everything. It was more simple. And today it's so fast-paced, it just you can't keep up sometimes.
Do you like the high-tech aspect of like the present world, or like do you miss the simpler life when you were a kid?
No.
Okay.
And yeah, in some cases I like it, but when you're growing up and going to school, nowadays they have computers to do all the work for you, and in my day, it just, you have to do it yourself, and it was as simple, and I never knew what a computer was until I was growing up, so I think, I don't know, I like it today.
Okay.
Not if I was going to school.
Is there any advice you would like to give to the new generation of people in Millardville or Coquitlam?
Oh boy. Keep it simple. That's all I can say.
Keep it simple.
I'm not doing very good at these answers, right?
No, you're doing great.
Exactly that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's all of my questions. Is there anything else you want to talk about that I didn't cover?
No, I remember my 15th birthday. That was a big one. I got a pair of running shoes.
Oh.
I was so excited. High top running shoes. I was so excited. I ran up and down the block, like the whole block, yelling out, "Look what I got for my birthday!" Up and down. That's like a block and a half. I did that about 5 times. All the people thought I was pretty crazy, but I was excited about my running shoes there.
And how old were you at the time?
15.
Okay, so that's your 15th birthday. Was it from like specific family member, or like was it from the family collectively?
No, my mom and dad did. Because all my sisters were younger and they didn't buy me anything.
Okay.
Every birthday for my sister, they got special, something special. Nothing fancy, something special then.
Did you have a family pet growing up?
Yes, I did. We went to. You remember that's right. Why do I remember that? Well,
You were 4 or 5 or something. I don't know. We were there anyway. In Cloverdale.
Cloverdale, that's right. Yeah.
And what was the dog's name?
Nuki.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a Siberian Husky. Beautiful dog.
That's nice. And you had it like when you were like older as an adult?
Yes, I was. I don't know how old I was. Paul was, I think, 5 or 6. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
And where did you live at the time?
Cloverdale, very strong, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's again all the questions I have. Anything else you want to add?
Myself?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think we've got everything covered there and more.
Okay, so just to wrap up, thank you so much, Paul and Ron, for doing this interview with us, and we hope to get in touch with you later for like follow-up details.
Sure.